night, everyone. Hopefully, everyone enjoyed their dinner tonight. I'd like to say thank you to Michelle and her father, Roger. They've been working on cooking. We also had some catered in by Forest City Fish Camp, some of those delicious sides. And plus all of the volunteers that have come and helped for the past 2 days to set up this amazing setup to celebrate our Cavalier football program. So if we can have a round of applause for those people. I've been given a time limit, so you guys are great. We're going to stay on target. Tonight I wanted to just share a few words for our parents and for each of our players that I've had the honor to watch grow into the incredible young adults and athletes that I see before me today. Some things that I've learned over the years in this program is becoming a football parent means signing up for more than just car rides and laundry. It means a front row seat to a spectacle of dedication, camaraderie, and the exhilarating chaos of the boys of fall. When autumn settles over Brian Harrell Stadium at East Rutherford High School, there's something special about watching these young athletes bond, balance competition, and support while turning each game into a shared experience. Throughout the year, your child and their teammates live and breathe football. Their lives are defined by early morning practices, weight training, and countless hours on the field. They push themselves to the limit, not just for the game, but for each other, understanding that football is a testament to their commitment and unity. Game days are a whirlwind of excitement and anxiety. As a parent, your heart races with each play. On the sidelines, you clutch your program. Your cheers blend in with the roar of the crowd, or if you're loud like me, you can single it out. Each tackle and touchdown makes your heart pound. Each play is a mix of hope and tension. But when that final whistle blows, you feel a deep sense of pride, knowing your Cavaliers have given their all. Cavalier football is defined by our players' fierce determination and supportive camaraderie, which embodies a rare spirit. They challenge each other to be better while lifting each other up when it counts. Their blend of fierce competition with genuine support is what makes them extraordinary. Witnessing this balance as a parent is both heartwarming and inspiring, showing that football is not just about the game, but also about the life lessons and friendships forged in competition. When the final game of the season is played, there's a bittersweet sense of closure. We don't know where our Cavaliers will end up, whether they'll play college ball or take new paths. But I want our kids to know that my commitment to them doesn't end with the final whistle. I will be there cheering them on every step of the way as they take on every endeavor that they choose to pursue. Cavalier football has taught me about perseverance, teamwork, and the depth of a mother's love. Their journey on the field is a testament to their spirit, and as a mother, I'm honored to be a part of their story. In closing, I want to thank Coach Russ for several years. Y'all need to hug him because we would go into the field house and put up streamers, and I watched the poor man get clotheslined by some of those decorations that we did. And we did it because we love each and every one of you sitting here today, and we believe in you and believe in our program. Thank you to the coaching staff and all the countless hours that you have on the field, inspiring our players to be the best people that they can be, not just players, but growing and extraordinary young adults and teaching them about life lessons, because Cavalier, again, is more than just the game of football. And the parents here tonight, I want to just thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be a small part of Cavalier football again this year and the years past, and allowing me to spoil and show some love to each player that represents our program. It's been an honor, and aside from marrying my husband and having my own children, it's been one of the greatest experiences I've ever experienced, just to be around this program and to know each and every one of these players. So thank you. Hope you enjoy your night.
So at this time, we're going to do our team awards. We're going to have Coach Russ come up and give out his awards first.
First off, thank you for everybody to come out to the support tonight, to support these kids, especially when there's no school board. This is kind of the finale of a year, and I'll be honest with you, from where we started to where we are right now with our coaches and our awards, you could tell that when we start delving out everything that they're going to receive tonight, it's just a testament of their hard work and what they have done and what they mean to this program as we close another phase and we started this week with the next phase of the next football team. I think it was 205 days away from the next kickoff of our season. Just want to speak on these guys behind me because they don't really technically get a lot of accolades and awards, especially I can only give them so much. You know that the pay doesn't match the hours and the time and the extra work that they spend pouring over these players. But the coaches that stand behind me are the reason why that your kid's successful, the reason why that I feel like I'm successful. And there's one still sitting in the crowd. Everybody know, Coach Zale, raise your hand. You've earned the right. Since he's retired, he can stay seated down. He don't have to come up here and sweat under these big, bright lights. But to even have a guy retire and come back and want to still pour into this group, it just speaks to what these kids mean to us. I don't think you can put a monetary value on what your child truly means to us. And the reason why, when they're hard-headed and you know how they are at home, why we show up every day, even when we're getting paid to do it, we go through the same struggles, the same growing pains, the same maturity strands, and as they grow, we enjoy watching that growth and sending them home. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to recognize our all-season strength and conditioning program. So if your babies are growing muscles and getting big, Coach Holman is responsible for that. This time of year, we don't really talk about football. We talk about maturity, leadership, dedication to oneself, and doing something bigger than what you can pour out on the football field. We win ball games in the weight room. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let Coach Holman come up. We're going to give out our strength and conditioning off-season awards, and then we'll progress into the football accolades.
Good evening. How you doing? Sorry. I'm not a man of many words, so I'll probably be brief here anyway. But I just want to say, when the Egyptians built the pyramids, they put a big white, gold, pretty cap on it. But the most important part of that pyramid is the base, because it holds the rest of it up. And that's what strength is. That's what strength training is to any sport. Doesn't matter if it's football, wrestling, taekwondo, whatever you do. At the end of the day, if you don't have that base of good strength and conditioning, you can have all the talent in the world and it doesn't mean anything. So these guys right here, I wish I could quantify the amount of sweat that they've put in to that weight room and the amount of effort that goes into having a successful season like we had. And really, I always say, the old saying, you can lead a horse to water, you can't make them drink. Well, these guys, every time they were brought to the well, they drank. So, keep it up. All right, so the first award will be it's going to be the summer workouts that we do. We keep up with the attendance to that, and then this is to recognize the players that had perfect attendance. And the first one is Landon Flynn. Cole Grayson. All right, next is Pacey Collins. Mr. Colby Pack. Liam Taylor. J.J. Irvin. Adam Garcia. Sebastian Mendoza Paredes. Sorry. Zamir Jeffries. Rashid Hill. See here. Jalen Hinton. Nathaniel Baker. Jakai Hankins.
All right, so real quick, just kind of speak on these guys and what this award is. When we have our off season, this is not counting the football class. This is showing up every day in the summertime, even when we have 7-on-7s. If they're not participating in 7-on-7, the skill guys go and play. Then some guys show up and lift with Coach Holman. These are the young men that dedicated to show up every day to get their lift in, even and go further and beyond. Most of these showed up on Friday, which we call Arm Candy Friday. Basically, they come in for a volunteer workout with me, and they get a little bit extra and just an extra workout day to kind of be a part of the group. So a round of applause for our perfect attendance. All right, y'all good. Yeah, you want them to, what do you want? Yeah, if we can have you all straight across. And then Holman, make sure you're up there, and then look at Mr. Flynn, make sure he can see you right there in the middle. Just smile. All right, good. All right, as we transition to the next off-season weight room award, the next one is called the Dirty Dozen. Basically what the Dirty Dozen is, this is the top 12 lifters of all combined lifts. I'll let Coach Holman speak on what lifts we measure, but these are the top 12 strongest athletes in the football program with the measurables of all 4 lifts. We do incorporate to get our skill guys involved in this by doing the speed metric. So they do the 40 and they do pro shuttle. We get those times. But we really look at not only their strength, but we look at the pound growth. So, for instance, if you bench max 100 pounds and then you bench max the next max at 200, you obviously had a 100-pound growth, and we will speak to that. But I'm going to let Coach Holman speak on the lifts and what we expect out of those athletes, and then we will present the Dirty Dozen for 2025 offseason.
All right, so the program that we basically run, I was a power lifter in another life. And so basically we concentrate on the basics, and that's what I've always preached to these guys. It's bench press, squat, power clean, and deadlifts. And that's the four main lifts that we kind of hit and make sure that we cover, because it as far as strength goes, there's really no there's 1,000 ways to do it, but what we tend to concentrate on is the things that make football players successful. So the first award is going to be to Alton Freeman. This is the Dirty Dozen. Jalen Hidden. It's Colby Pack. Jason Airwood. CJ Jackson. He's not here, but also Rasheed Hill. There's two more that we're pretty sure it's not here. Travis Baker, he's not here, is he? And Noble Washington. Adam Garcia. Is Jahabi Littlejohn. Is he here? No. Jack Atkins. There he is. Tayshawn Whiteside. And just the last word on these guys, it does take a lot of work to get this award. It's pretty competitive, and the top 12 lifters of we tend to make really big gains, and these guys, this is a much deserved award, guys.
Step up, 360.
Leave me alone.
All right, the next three are the top three awards in the weight room. The first one we're going to recognize is our top JV lifter of the offseason. A lot of times our JV team doesn't get a lot of recognition, so the big thing is we try to find a guy that really maximizes opportunities, changes their body, changes their maxes, consistently is trying to do a little bit extra. This guy, just kind of speaking, and I'll let Coach Hallman speak to him more, but even watching from my perspective, like he get frustrated. He was a dude that would keep testing, and he'd be the last one in the weight room trying to make a weight. Even when we would go over and say, hey, dude, like, You can try again on Friday, like it's on Wednesday, and it's like, give yourself a break. You've tried this weight 13 times. No, coach, I'm going to do it one more time. And he's a man of few words. He doesn't talk a whole lot. And so for him to kind of speak up in those moments tells you that he takes the weight room very serious. He does everything we ask him to do. He's always been a hard worker, changed the composition of his body. And if you could see a picture of where he started to where he is currently, you'd be very impressed. But I'm not going to spoil it. I'm going to let Coach Hallman speak to him since he spends every day with him.
So this guy, he's one of the ones that I don't really have to watch all that much and keep tabs on, which, trust me, it's a blessing. So C.J. Edwards, he is what I would say also he perseveres would be a good word for him. But C.J. Edwards.
Quick tap. Yep. All right, the next award, obviously it goes, and he just saw his name on the plaque, so you can go ahead and start walking on up here, Dior. Come on. He saw it because Hallman showed it to everybody in the crowd. Real quick, basically what the Quick Cav Award is, not only do we take their max outs, and we take their percent change in their max outs, but we look at compiling the speed component into the whole weight room program. So we look at who's going to gain the most speed or get the seconds trimmed off their pro agility. And we kind of track this whole thing throughout their career. And what's really cool is I think this is your second or third time winning this award. He's kind of set the bar on taking this part of the training serious. And for those of you young guys that are in the program, this is why he makes explosive plays. When you're able to just drop a gear and get lost after contact, this is something that we're really, really proud of what CJ's dedicated and turn the Quick Cav Award. I guess I'll just go ahead and say it. The 2025 Quick Cav Award goes to Mr. CJ Jackson. Are you getting pictures? Oh, we got to get one more. Oh, yeah, my bad. All right, I'll just go ahead and carry over on this one. This one is the what we call the Strong Cav Award. Essentially, it's the top lifter in the category. This person is a member of the Dirty Dozen. It is the top squat, the top bench, deadlift, and power clean. I think I have that. So this person had a 275-pound bench, a 540-pound squat, a 240-pound power clean, and a 610 deadlift. From January 6, 2025 to April 18, 2025, he had a 205-pound increase over all of his lifts. The 2025 Strong Cav, Mr. Alton Freeman.
I just wanted to say something. When you talk about someone who's around the age of 18 that can deadlift over 600 pounds, when I tell you that that is a very rare feat, it's beyond impressive, and he deserves, I mean, obviously all the credit, but, I just wanted to point that out, that it is, extremely impressive. Oh.
All right, now we're going to get into the football awards. Before we do the team awards, we'll go ahead and get all the public awards taken care of. So the first award that we're going to recognize, the Daily Courier is the Rutherford County newspaper. It recognizes each year an all-county football team. Basically, they take all 4 high schools that play high school football in the county, Thomas Jefferson, Chase, RS, and East Rutherford, and they pull the best athletes from that team to recognize an all-county team. So this year, as we call these guys out, they are the best representation of football in Rutherford County. The first member of the 25 All-County football team, Mr. Jason Airwood. The next member of the 2025 All-County football team was also selected to the 2025 All-County soccer team, Mr. Ian Queen. The next member of the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Landon Flynn. Next member of the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Brandon Pinkerton. Our next selection to the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. C.J. Jackson. Our next 2025 All-County football selection, Mr. Jalen Hinton. Our next selection, the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Cole Grayson. The next selection of the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Colby Pack. The next member of the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Tayshawn Whiteside. The next member of the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Zeke Wingo. And the last member of the 2025 All-County football team, Mr. Eli Roof. This just goes to a testament. If you see up here, I felt like we were calling out the entire roster. When you win and you do things the right way and you take care of your business, both in the off season and the weight room, obviously this is the best and brightest of Rutherford County. It's a great showing. It's the second year in a row that we have accomplished with such a high level of recognition. I'd just like to present to you the East Rutherford 2025 All-County football player. While we stand here, and I'll be honest, we're in the house of the Lord, so I can be honest, because the Lord wouldn't want it any other way. So this should have been the award last year, and I'm glad that it's finally decided to turn, and we're able to, after myself and a few other people in the program were able to contact the media. This young man to my left deserves the accolade that he's about to receive, as well as other awards tonight. Last year, just to let you know, he got the Offensive Player of the Year for the county. It was said that he was not the county Player of the Year due to his fact that he did not punt and actually kick a football. However, he was our starting long snapper for the previous season, so I said we couldn't punt if we didn't have our long snapper. So it doesn't go any further to explain that how proud we are of Brandon, but tonight he has earned the 2025 All-County Player of the Year. So let's round of applause for Brandon Pinkerton. All right, this year we started into a new conference, the Western Piedmont 3A, 4A. These young men did some really incredible things in terms of not only scoring probably the conference. I mean, we've set the bar very high. Every conference lasts about 3 to 4 years before we go into a new alignment and they move us into a different conference. But points per game scored, I think, was not only on a level to rival for the conference that I don't know that they will be able to rival, as well as points given up. I think we averaged points given up, 18 points per game given up, and points scored was 43.6 points per game. So when you add that in, those are incredible numbers. Explain why these young men, not only in their conference games, had a running clock. To get a running clock in football, you have to have a 35-point lead or more. And some of these guys' stats, when we were trying to get them for all stat awards and trying to get them in, I know there are several of our young men that performed well, but when you're in a running clock, essentially after halftime, if you take it and say it's supposed to be 30 minutes, they're only getting 15 minutes of playtime. Because the running clock runs when timeout is the only thing that stops it. A ball out of play, the clock still runs. An incomplete pass, anything that would naturally stop the clock does not occur when you're up so much. These young men performed and excelled beyond measure to go undefeated. They won the 8th ever conference championship in the history of the school. And that for sure. A lot of special things that you can annotate to that is the last conference championship was won in 2005. So 20 years in the making to get back to the top level of a conference. And these young men had a very instrumental part of that. So as we call up, these are the Western Piedmont 3A, 4A all-conference football recognition. Landon Flynn. Mr. Brandon Pinkerton. Jason Arrowood. Zeke Wingo. Cole Grayson. CJ Jackson. Colby Pack. Ian Queen. Eli Roof. Tayshawn Whiteside. Jalen Hinton. And we were able to sustain to get another pick. This is a young man that I felt like deserved it, and we sat in the meeting, and me and the head coach from High Brighton and the head coach from East Burke kept talking about this young man and tried to get East Rutherford another all-conference selection due to our undefeated status, due to everything that we were able to do. But this two-way athlete received honorable mention for the all-conference, and that's Mr. Alton Freeman. This is your 2025 Western Piedmont 3A, 4A all-conference team. we were able to sustain and win a major award for the conference. The Football Player of the Year for the Western Piedmont 3A, 4A. I'm going to read you some stats. Obviously, it's a no-brainer who we have selected in the conference. But for offense, this young man sustained 1,650 yards rushing, 8.8 yards per carry. That means every time he carried it, we were within 1.2 yards from getting a first down. So that's impressive in itself, especially knowing that this young man was going to be the guy that toted the rock in the run game. So when you know he's going to run it, you still can't stop it, and he's getting 8.8 yards per carry. It's not only a testament to the way he runs the ball, but if you've ever read any of the newspaper articles, if you're in the crowd and you played offensive line, H, or tight end, if you'll stand up and don't sit down until I get done reading this stat, because what Brandon will tell you and what we'll all tell you, without all of you, he doesn't get the accolades, and he gives you the credit every time, so this is as much your award as it is his. His name's on it, but it embodies everybody that blocks up front that don't get the credit. He had 26 touchdowns. He rushed for 8 games, 100-yard plus. He had 2 200-yard plus rushing games and 1 300-yard plus rushing game. He had 69 yards receiving, 8.6 yards per catch, 6 rushing 2-point conversions. He had 2 passes for 45 yards and 162 points scored this year. Defensively, he had 40 tackles, 14 solo, 26 assists, 6 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback pressures, 2 fumble recoveries, 1,726 all-purpose yards. He averaged 172.6 yards per game offensively. The Conference Player of the Year, Mr. Brandon Pinkerton. All right, during the offseason and during the summer phase, we vote on the Cavalier football captains. These guys rotate for the coin toss. But really what this embodies is it's not only a player. We have random conversations with our players. And then as a coaching staff, we sit down and we discuss who are the representatives for our football team. If it push come to shove, if we need to step out of the coach's office and have the kids handle something in-house, these are the young men that carried the leadership. They were the voice of the coaches. They knew the expectations of the program. They knew what was at stake when we went to practice. They knew what we asked of them in the summer. They embody, and really this year, a lot of times you have 3 captains or 2 captains. This year we had the biggest group of captains we had because they were on both sides of the ball. They had been starters for 4 years. Within the program, and they've always held people to a different standard, whether it be vocally or by their actual physical, just showing up and giving work. The first Cavalier captain is Mr. Cole Grayson. Think about Cole as Cole started as a young guy on the offensive line, and I remember his first game was at Tuscola High School, and that was the year that we that game in itself was a very interesting game. We didn't get started till 10:30 at night, but this young man jumped in there at guard, and he'll tell you, like, honestly, he was the mini fridge that kind of plugged A and B gap for us on the offensive line, and it has sustained throughout his career. He was a pinnacle force for us on the offensive line, and really, he's the quiet leader. He's a guy that if he speaks, even though it's a low, very deep, serious tone, anytime he spoke, a lot of people paid attention to, because most of the time the only thing Cole ever told me is middle of practice, like, hey, coach, I got to go poop. And and then he'll tell you that's about all he really ever said to me. I could say, hey, we're going to run this play over 13 times. But if it ever got in practice, I'd be like, hey, Cole, man, what's wrong? You look a little off. He goes, yeah, you know, I got to go to the bathroom. So we would get him to the bathroom. That's all that he really ever said. Because really he's about work. He's a physical being and presence in our offensive line. And this year, most of you didn't know, but he had an injury that took place in practice, and that almost sidelined him for his entire senior year. But after meeting with him and his family decided that, He was going to do whatever it took to get back on the field. He didn't miss a single snap, and he was able to. Now, he missed some practice, but that was because we were trying to heal as much as we could in his knee to get him back on the field. But that speaks to his leadership. He wanted to carry the torch and pass it to the group behind him to show them that you can overcome insurmountable odds. And so that's why Cole Grayson is one of our Cavalier football captains. This young man, and I'll be honest with you, I think that sometimes it gets misconstrued in football. This is a violent sport. And sometimes that word violent I think it gets filtered out. And sometimes, even as parents and supporters and community folks, you don't get to see what happens at practices. His father was with us at a 7-on-7 this summer and thought that his son had got ignited into, actually my dad was there. So watching my dad and watching this player's dad run down the hill and get in the mix of a team quarrel with Hunter Huss, after we all got it broke up and they were like, man, what really happened? They don't know the conversation that was had between me and two of my senior captains. We had showed up to Gaffney. We were playing some of the top talent in South Carolina and some of the very athletic teams from North Carolina. And I had to go to two of these individuals and say, hey, look, wake us up. We've got to get plugged in. We got to get some energy, something. Now, that word was translated into bringing a little bit of more action to a 7-on-7, a little bit more physicality. This young man is a spark. He has a lot of bite in a little frame. And, a lot of times when stuff would pop off on a sideline or on a game, I'd get a phone call and it'd be like, hey, coach, man, what has he already done? What's he doing? And no, it's controlled. It's controlled chaos. You got to be a little bit crazy to play the game of football because you got people, especially when you're his size, that are flying around trying to bring harm when he caught the ball and tried to outrun him, and that was a bad choice. But this young man, he led by holding people accountable on the physical side. He kept us keyed up. He kept the energy, kept us really locked in moments, and sometimes we had to tone him and pull the leash back a little bit to calm him down. But this Cavalier football captain's number 3, C.J. Jackson. If there's ever been a definition of a guy that earned captainship through really just buying in, putting your head down, that had a lot of things stacked against him. Anytime that you have more than just coaches looking at you, when you've got your family that are closely tied to the program, and you have to not only answer to coach, but answer to dad sometimes, it puts a lot of extra weight because you know the pressure is going to be there to perform, but you really don't know how much you can stretch out, because if you do too much, the car ride home changes. That conversation changes. There were extra expectations and belief in this young man to get him to buy in, because I guess you would say the DNA of being a superb football player comes with hard work. This young man bought into the weight room. Him and Coach Holman got real tight. His body, if there was a water bug frame, this guy had it when he started in the program. He was very little meat and a lot of bones, not a whole lot of muscle, bought into trying to eat right, do right. Then somebody told him, hey, if you get your speed right, the faster you run, the cleaner you are on doing this, the cleaner you are doing that, it's going to show up. And he bought in and he believed in that process. And not only did he have that, he had pressure of Coach Lael being his track coach and having expectations. And then he started doing things that tried to pull more athleticism out by not only running fast, but also jumping over things. So if the neighborhood dog ever got loose, this guy's never going to get bit because he can jump into a fence to protect himself. He can jump over cones. He can jump over any kind of obstacle. So when it came to evading defenders and returning kicks, he is the reason why the milligrams of my blood pressure medicine went up during the football season, because we would run to the left and it would kind of shut down, and then he'd run back to the middle and then juke back left and run to the right and get lost in space. But he inevitably earned the right to become a captain just because of his composure. He's I guess where CJ was the yang, he was the yin, because he brought the laughter, the dancing, the excitement, the fun. He brought the lighter side, and he was about the only dude on the field that could get in CJ's face and say, hey, lock it back in. Like they were the ebb and flow of each other, and they kept us solid in the back end. This Cavalier football captain is Mr. Jalen Hinton. This is going to be a good one. This young man, I'm going to be honest with you, like personality, the cool thing about this captain is the personality, how it evolves. Coming into the program and being a headache, needing Tylenol to deal with this guy, having to try to like figure out what was he messing in, where's he at, what's he going to do, trying to get him to lock in, trying to get him to believe. Even into his senior year, his people's here, they'll tell you, their phone rang in the middle of football practice. They knew what we were dealing with. We were having a tough day because he's hard-headed. But you got to have a hard head and a soft, well, we can't say that, we're at church, okay. But you know what I'm saying, parents, you got a hard head and a soft rear end. You got to sometimes lock people back in to do the right thing. But when I tell you that in football, it's because there's so much that goes on into a practice, into a game. And when you develop leadership, it is the hardest thing to do. And this person had to grow in leadership and understand. He had every single attribute to be a leader. When I tell you every single attribute. The first thing in leadership in football, and you can ask anybody that's in a football program, it's if the lights cut out in the locker room and the voice speaks, the leader's the guy that ain't nobody going to challenge. When the locker room needs to be cleaned up and this guy says, hey, we're cleaning up. This is a guy that nobody's going to stand toe-to-toe to and say, I'm challenging you. No, I'm not. I'm leaving. This guy had that quality and that ability just by his presence. Whatever sports team he joins, he left our sport, went into another sport, and changed the locker room. Because this is a guy that when it comes down to toe-to-toe, you don't challenge that guy because he holds you to a standard. The problem that he had is he's also soft-hearted. In the big, lustrous frame with the golden locks of beautiful hair, there is a big, soft heart inside that body. And the problem with leadership, too, is holding your friends and your peers accountable. To be able to look at them and say, hey, man, we don't do that. Or to be able to say certain things that need to be said, but having to say it in a certain way. The thing that we worked on this year that's big for him is he is extremely coachable. The thing was having to tell him how to be the leader. And he accepted that, how to communicate effectively as a leader. Like, for instance, hey, guy, instead of saying, I'm wide open, it's like, hey, if you find me, I'll score. Changing the way he talked to people, changing the way that he communicated effectively to his peers made him even more stronger of an athlete. Because I'm going to tell you, when it all comes down to it, when a play needed to be made this year offensively, that's who we turned to. Because everybody had the bullseye on our running back, and everybody sent the blitz and the cross stunts and all that to try to disrupt our quarterback. But it was from a position that technically don't get all the touches and all the looks. But when a play had to be made to be explosive, this guy stepped up and made the play. But you saw it on Friday night. You didn't hear it in the huddle when he would come in there and be like, hey, dude, give me the ball. I want the ball. Let me get the ball. Find me. He would look at the quarterback, hey, whatever it takes, give me the ball and I'll make you happy. I'll make you look good. Trust me. That quiet voice in the storm of chaos is sometimes the leadership that we need. You know, in our lives, we need that. This young man, from his freshman year to his senior year, he has grown tremendously. He's accountable. When he screws up, he's the first one to admit fault. You don't got to pull it out of him. He'll get you. He won't admit it in front of everybody. He ain't going to stand up in front of the whole group like, hey, coach, I did it. But he'll come up to me and say, hey, look, my bad. I did that. Or if he falls into peer pressure of doing something wrong, he's the kind of guy that messes up his own vehicle than messing up anybody else's. He'll just mess up his vehicle because it's his vehicle. He can wash his car when he goes home. But he wants to be a part of the guys. That speaks in itself. That's the type of leader that you want to be around because it's as much as being a player's coach, he's a player's leader. And that Cavalier captain is number 22, Jason Arrowwood. Yeah, Coach Weatherford's right. This was, from the previous story, this was the other guy that went and stirred up the little quarrel against Hunter Huss. He might have been the guy that actually started it, and then CJ, being the little bulldog that he was over his shoulder helping. So that was to kind of tie in who the other guy was. The next Cavalier captain, it goes on saying that this position, if you are this position in any football program in the United States, the expectation of leadership better be there. You're not going to play that position very long. And sometimes it's all about how you carry yourself, because I'm going to tell you, in all the programs and all the teams that this young man's been a part of, he's never been that guy that you turn the lights out and go toe-to-toe. But he has always been the guy when the lights are about to be cut off and you hear somebody in the locker room, he's still holding the broom. Even when it's defensive line, offensive line cleanup day. Even when it's running back receiver day, DB day. This guy is always carrying a ball bag. He's always picking up trash on the bus. He's doing the little things that people think you don't notice. But as a coach, it's the biggest pride because you know at the end of the day, that is the genetic makeup of a leader. Because always it doesn't have to be. You have to have the bulldog that you can put on the team and say, hey, you better go in that locker room and get them to chill out. That ain't this guy. This guy is, hey, that guy's having a rough day. Go over there and pray with him. Go over there and have a conversation with him. Hey, check up on so-and-so. I talked to mom and dad today. This is going on in their life. I need you to go help me out. It comes better if it comes from you, not the head coach. If you need to bring them to me, bring them to me. He's the guy that met people in the middle. He's the guy that sometimes, he may have the weirdest dietary plan in the entire program. He may drive his parents crazy because they don't ever know what we can feed at pregame meal because he's not going to eat it. He didn't eat tonight. But within that same position, what I will tell you is now I can speak openly. I sat and I watched the team that put us out of the playoffs win the state championship, and I listened to the postgame of a head football coach talk about this position and how sometimes your position at quarterback, you can get overlooked and you can get a lot of stuff said and you can have a lot of pressure. There's a lot of people that sit and they want to guess what a 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kid is going to do with the ball in their hands. You have a different position and you see it differently than they see it. The kid carries the weight of the offense. That position has to be a leader because the weight and the pressure and stress that goes on that position is insurmountable. It's more than what a coach has to face. A coach can say, hey, every loss is mine. But honestly, there's not a position on the field other than the kicker that can influence a game that everybody points to. If you lose a ball game, they either point at the kicker or they point at the quarterback. Running back can fumble, receiver can drop a pass, DB can drop an interception, we can have missed tackles across the board. But when the offense doesn't go, it's not the play caller, it's not the team, it's this position. He didn't hand it off quick enough. He didn't see that person open. He threw that guy was open, but my kid was open and he didn't throw to him. It's a lot of pressure. And it's in this day and age with social media, the way this young man's carried himself, it sets the bar very high for players, not only in his position, not only in the program, but I think in the area. It's very clear of who we're talking about. But I remember when I had that young freshman, when our offensive line wasn't strong enough to block. And I remember when his finger got dislocated and it was all looked like a Chinese symbol and it was all crooked and mollywopped. And he come off at Hendersonville, was like, ha, coach, look. And I'm like, oh, God, not good. I remember that. I remember when times he would get licked and you'd look at him in his eyes and there'd be a little tear in the corner because he just got absolutely plowed. And he would look at you and be like, don't take me out. What's the play? And he always cared about others first. And he always wanted to check up, and he always went and tried to find others. And when he knew he messed up, he isolated himself, and he would take ownership of mess-ups. And sometimes as a leader, you have to be able to own when it's not your night or when something else. And also to be a leader, you have to kind of step to the side sometimes if it's not working for you to do what's best for the group and best for the team. And this young man embodies all of that. He is the definition of a leader. He's done a great job leading our offense. He's made a lot of these skill players look really good. Our next Cavalier captain is number 12, Landon Flynn. Y'all don't understand how hard it is to talk about all these babies when you love them because there's so much. I could keep you here till school on Monday because there's so much good to say about him. This next young man, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. He's going to have to, I'm glad he's got a huge family to carry out all the accolades that he's earned. And there's so much more that could be given to honor him. The leadership piece, too, is in that same frame of control chaos. It has to be an internal fire. When you talk about a leader and you say, hey, do you feel like you gave your all today to a player? And they're, yeah. And you look over to your left and you say, did you give more than him today? This is that guy. This is the guy that you can point out that nobody could outwork, that nobody could outrep, that there was times actually this year when he was picked up off the ground and in 10 seconds, I'll be honest, if Doc's here tonight, if Doc was on that sideline and Elise was in my pocket, we might have not got to keep him in the ball game because there was times he had to clear his mechanism, reset his boundary, and get locked back in. And about 30 seconds later, he's bumping me in the back. Put me in the game, I will go score. that's powerful words when it's a high school kid and he's wanting to get in. It wasn't give me the ball, like throw it to me, hand it to me, whatever. It was, I will go get us that yard. I will score that touchdown. Like, get me the ball. But in the same thing, you know, there's a lot of studying when you're a football coach. Saquon Barkley, when he moved to the Eagles, he was able to get a rushing record. He was sitting on the bench, and they were going to put him back in a blowout game. It's like, hey, if you go in and you get one more carry, you're going to be able to break this record. And as soon as I saw it, I transformed into Brian Harrell Stadium, and I remember going over to the guy and like, hey, you go in right now, I think you can get, you know, this, and you'll get this many yards, and you might have a touchdown record at the school or tie the record. Nah, coach, get those other running backs the ball. Let them eat. Let's go. Get the other guys in. He would sacrifice himself to let others eat at the table that he was preparing. When I tell you the running back room is strong, the defensive side of the ball was strong, this guy had an elated sense of pride. He was humble beyond belief. He was psychotic beyond measure in the field of play. These guys will tell you his demeanor in here. Friday night, about 7 o'clock, when that clock hit 7 o'clock, you know, Cinderella's carriage turned to a pumpkin. This dude turned into a super insane, like, I'm just telling you, like, just out-of-pocket, just warrior. A warrior amongst boys. There was things that people always say, man, coach, I don't know, that body frame. When I talk to colleges, his weight's not there, his body frame's not there. I'm like, yeah, but you can't measure willpower and heart and intensity and want to. You know, I had a high school football coach who used to say there's never a way to measure or weigh out want to. And this young man's want to, will probably, it'll take a long time before somebody can match that type of energy in a room for me. With that being said, this Cavalier captain is number 21, Brandon Pinkerton. These are your 2025 Cavalier football captains. Y'all stand up here in the front. I know. All right, let's do offensive line. All right, the next award is the Offensive Lineman of the Year. This young man had 42 pancake blocks, 0 sacks allowed. 4-year starter at left guard, Mr. Cole Grayson. I'm trying to not be as winded tonight. I apologize for, I'm telling you, when I tell you I love these youngins, I can talk about them all night. Whew. Defensive Lineman of the Year, 80 total tackles, 33 solo, 47 assists, 8 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 16 quarterback pressures, 1 interception, 3 fumble recoveries, 1 forced fumble, and 1 block punt. Number 22, Jason Airwood. This next award is the Clutch Performer Award. This award basically speaks to a game changer. Being able to come in and impact a game, whether it be 1 play, 3 plays, 5 plays, 2 series, 1 quarter. Coming on into the season, not real sure where the fit was going to be, because leading into the season, there was a lot of talk about this person playing a certain position on a certain side of the ball. Then they found a home. Then we had to have a lot of conversations like, when's too early to put them in? When's the time to make this change? When's the time to put this in? As the year grew, so did this person's involvement, even making the biggest splash, I guess, statewide in the very last playoff game. You know, it goes to say that explosive should be attached to this person's description. I'm very excited about the future of this person in the program. This year's Clutch Performer is number 6, Zeke Wingo. All right, next award is the most improved player. This person had 37 pancake blocks, 50 total tackles, 10 solo, 40 assists, 9 TFLs, 2.5 sacks, 12 quarterback pressures, 1 forced fumble, and 1 block punt. He started on both sides of the ball, never came off the field, never needed a break. The most improved football player of the year, number 64, Alton Freeman. Team before self. This award, in a lot of descriptors, it really means what it says. Being able to put others before yourself, being able to not worry about what your own effects of yourself can be, but doing it for the greater good of the team and putting them always in the forefront of your mind. This young man had 42 pancake blocks and no sacks allowed on the offensive line, was coming into this season as a preseason all-conference selection for defensive line. Big expectations of playing both ways. Spent a lot of time in the offseason trying to train and have crossover training. After the injury, we had to put him where we had to have him most. The injury that we spoke about earlier when we were talking about his captainship, we were doing a one-on-one drill. His knee rolled back, and he lost all feeling in his leg. He ended up having to go to multiple doctor's appointments and multiple evaluations and treatments. And honestly, the doctor advisement was, hey, man, you had a good football career. Man, sorry that your senior year is over. But after deep talks and really him soul-searching about what he thought and what he was willing to endure pain-wise, by not only taking medicine, but buying braces and rotating braces throughout the year, and then bracing up the other side to try to put more weight on one side than the other. It goes beyond saying to have those pancake blocks, to not give up any sacks, but the support of his family was tremendous. When I tell you they were there every step of the way, it goes beyond saying that this award's as much yours as it is his. You had to see him when he couldn't walk. You had to see him on Saturday mornings and Sundays when it was just barely enough to get him to the table or get him out of the bed or get him to wherever he was going. Getting his girlfriend in. I know she had surgery, and it was a tough time, and that can be a dark valley. So to you as parents, I just want to tell you that I commend you along the way, how much you both poured into him, were the rays of sunshine on those dark, rainy days when it was tough, when it was hard. It is emotional for me to talk about that because I was there and I watched you. I watched how you loved him. I watched how you had to make tough decisions to be able to allow him to play. And we're forever better because of that. So the Team Before Self Award this year is number 57, Cole Grayson. The next award goes to a young man. I'll have a funny story after I give you his stats. But just real quick, it's the Coaches Award. When we as coaches sit around and we look at all the accolades, all the awards that could be given, we try to name players within the program that really identify with who we want to recognize. Who's a guy that really, I guess, caught us out, off guard, that we really didn't know where they were going to plant and where they were going to find their way into a role, either because of an injury or because they just never had their number called. This guy, in a weird way, there's a lot of different stories that we could share because he was with us, then he went away and he won a state championship, then he came back and I just gave it away, but he's a dog on the basketball court, and we needed that dog. When that dog started showing up for Kincaid, I went to Kincaid and said, whatever it takes, his senior year, he needs to come play for us because that's the dog that we need. This year, he learned the entire offense. Our offense is very structured. It's structured in to copycat or to replicate a collegiate offense. For him to come in year one and to be able to start telling other players across the front, hey, no, you shift here, you go here. No, you got this route, I got this route. To be able to do that and then flip on the other side and be able to play linebacker. I mean, linebacker is basically the quarterback of the defense. They get everything in the box lined up. And him and a sophomore basically wreaked havoc all year long inside the box. Stat-wise, he had 15 pancake blocks as an H and tight end. He had 11 catches for 123 yards and 1 touchdown. He had 2 two-point conversion receptions, 58 total tackles, 19 solo, 39 assists, 8.5 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback pressures, 3 interceptions, and 2 fumble recoveries. This year's Coaches Award goes to number 4, Eli Roof. As he returns to his seat, the funny story I would say, he has the East Rutherford record for as much as I know as the hardest pass ever thrown at quarterback. On JV, he threw, I think, a 93.4 mile per hour pass to a slant route, and it rolled for like 60 yards before it finally stopped. And Coach Lay, you remember that when we called it? And we said on the headsets, God Almighty, if you don't slow it down, he's going to break fingers. And Eli's just cheesing. You see his smile through the face mask. That was the year we were trying to put anybody at quarterback that could complete a pass so we didn't just have a run game. And then when he threw that pass, we were like, all right, he just needs to go back catching the ball because he was going to break somebody's hands. Senior award. This is also an award that usually comes from a position. We try to recognize this with offense or defensive linemen because a lot of times when you think about it, this is a dude, like a lot of times our offense and defensive linemen don't get a lot of accolades unless they just have some freakish great play. A lot of times it's Mr. Murray saying, holding on the call, number blah, blah, blah. And that's the only time their name gets announced. Or it's because somebody's really great, like Landon Flynn, Brandon Pinkerton, that has a good day, or a receiver, or a tight end. If CJ was like, hey, the line blocked really great, the only time they really get accolades is when somebody else gives them the credit. Because you don't get to hear the credit where we're like hyping them up and belly bumping them. And everybody's like, man, my kid caught the touchdown, but Coach Russ just got knocked on his butt because he belly bumped a lineman. It's because you saw the touchdown. I saw the kid get plowed in the mud, and then this kid lay on top of him and just crawl. Two quick stories about this young man. The first one is, he is very weight deficient for the position he was asked to be played in. And honestly, it's funny. It always ties back to my family. A conversation come where my parents went to eat the other night, and they were like, we saw this kid. We thought he was your kid, but there was no way he played this position because he didn't look the same. Then he had a conversation with my parents, and it was like, no, I'm in this sport now, and I can't be as heavy as I was in this. He also fell in love with his image. I found his Instagram one day, and then he's taking his shirt off, flexing muscles, thinking he's a bodybuilder. He's also the only kid ever in one of my halftime speeches had a girl come up and stop my speech about, hey, we got to play better. Excuse me, coach. Yes, ma'am. Can I see my boyfriend? Yeah, by all means. She goes over, kisses him on the cheek, kisses him on his lips, goes back in the stands. He's doing what he's doing right now in the crowd. He's blushing. This kid never really talks, but I've never had a kid's girlfriend come in the middle of a halftime speech, stop it so she should get some sugar before the second half. So that was a first for me. But hey, and y'all remember, it was at Chase. Yeah. It was when we were playing at Chase, and we're down there where everybody can see it. And I'm sitting like this, and get a little tap on my shoulder, and she's off to the side, and she goes, I need to speak to you. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, so he got some free sugar one game. Maybe it made him play better. I don't know. This year he's been a defensive lineman, but he moved to offensive line to fill a hole for us. He had 31 pancake blocks, 0 sacks allowed, 14 total tackles, 4 solo, 10 assists, 1.5 tackles for loss, 5 quarterback pressures. He was adopted. He's probably the second adopted child since I've been at East Rutherford by Lee Lale. Anytime Coach Lale talks on the headset, it's either Jakir Mooney or Seabass. And that was the 2 kids that Coach Lale loved. He loved to coach them up, loved to really get on their butt. But our senior award this year is number 50, Sebastian Mendoza-Paredes. I'm trying. All right, this is all statistics. These are the most valuable players. We do a team MVP, offensive, defensive, and special teams. This is the special teams MVP. This guy was 50 of 52 for PATs, 52 points scored, a 96% completion in PATs, 93.8 in his career. He had one forced fumble turnover where he made like a tackle. It ended up, guy was breaking. He tackled a dude ended up fumbling, but it was like a slide tackle. I don't even know what you call it. It was like whatever it took. He just said, Coach, I didn't want him to score. He had 19 touchbacks. He had 1 2-point conversion reception. Yep. Matt Pinkerton's going to be a future OC. He called that play. I didn't even know we were running that play, but it worked, and we scored points. So kudos to Matt. Kudos for Ian for catching the pass. I about vomited when I saw the play. I knew they had practiced it because in your mind, you have one kicker. He gets hurt. Yeah, you know my problem. So when I see Ian running with the ball, it's like, Coach, let me score. Matt always is drawing in the dirt and giving us all kind of tricks and gadget plays. He's going to be a nightmare for Coach Kincaid one day when you call plays with your triple option. But our special teams MVP this year, number 30, Ian Queen. Which one? Awesome. All right, the defensive MVP, 108 tackles, 32 solos, 76 assists, 13 TFLs, 14 quarterback pressures, 1 sack, and probably the weakest immune system in the football team. This guy gets sick more in the offseason, more in school. Pray for his mama, pray for immune C, vitamin C, bananas. If you can make donations to bananas or oranges and Gatorade and Pedialyte for this guy, I'm telling you, all that going to say it is he is just a sophomore. And to be the defensive MVP, to be the conference leading tackler, it goes before to say, like, as a Mike linebacker at his weight, a lot of times when I'm talking to people, they're like, hey, man, that number 2, he's really solid. He flies around. I'm like, yeah, he's just a baby too, man. I got 2 more years with that dog. That dog gonna hunt. The big thing that's exciting about him is he wants to play. If you don't remember, I can take you to the best term of what you don't expect out of sophomores. And Pop, raise your hand so everybody can see Dad in the room. He stood down there. We were like mama rhinos. I had Elise in the middle of a circle. I had like 5 different fans that we could grab out of the stands from RS Central. They basically went butt to butt around Tay and Elise, and we wrapped his shoulder because he wasn't going to come out of the game, but he had to be wrapped, and we didn't want anybody to see him injured while he was trying to get wrapped, so we didn't want anybody to take advantage of Tay because Tay, he refused. I mean, you can ask his dad when we get done talking. I mean, a kid literally crying, I am not coming out of this game. Then finally we looked at him and was like, bro, you have got to come out of this game. We have playoffs. And I'm telling you, talking about chewing and eating through a mouthpiece, he wants to compete. He wants to play. He wants to make an impact. He cares about his team. He would rather lose a finger than lose a rep. That's how he practices and how he plays. It's a testament to how he was raised and how he's always treated the game of football. 2025 defensive MVPs, number 2, Tayshawn Whiteside. '25 offensive MVP, young man had 1,793 yards passing, 27 touchdowns. He was 111 for 171 for a 64.9 completion rate, 23 rushes for 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 pancake blocks for Brandon's touchdowns, 1 catch for 13 yards. The offense MVP this year is number 12, Landon Flynn. He really wanted me to give him credit for the 2 pancake blocks, getting the lead out in front of the running back. Ole Miss, baby. Just because, I know that it is now 7:35, but I'm still going to read these stats because all the sweat and all the effort these guys put in, if I didn't read the stats, I feel like I'm doing them an injustice. So again, 1,650 yards rushing, 8.8 yards per carry, 26 touchdowns, 8 100-yard rushing games, 2 200-yard rushing games, 1 300-yard rushing game, 69 yards receiving, 8.6 yards per catch, 6 rushing, 2-point conversions. He was 2 for 5 passing for 45 yards, 162 points scored with 40 tackles, 14 solo, 26 assists, 6 TFLs, 2 sacks, 2 quarterback pressures, 2 fumble recoveries, 1,726 all-purpose yards, averaging 172.6 yards per game. The 2025 team MVP, Mr. Brandon Pinkerton. I'm good, and then after we're doing it after the video, right? The video, my other part? Okay. All right, that's all the awards. Real quick as we transition, coaches, you can go have a seat. I just want to tell you all, thank you, parents. Thank you for your time. I know that you think I'm wordy, you think I talk a whole lot, and that's fine. The kids will tell you it's a lot worse after practice on a hot July afternoon, but when I tell you that we pour in time and love into your student athlete and to these kids, the records are what you get to see, the games you get to see. but I know they have to get to and from ball games. They have to get to and from workouts. Without you, without your time, without your love and care and trust in us to be able to coach your child and to make sure they enjoy the game, but they learn the game. Sometimes we have to do hard truths with them. Sometimes we have to be tough and give tough love. And I just want to tell you from me to you, I appreciate your support. This has by far been one of the easiest years in dealing with the parents supporting our kids. You do a phenomenal job. It's not that I don't think that sometimes you're as frustrated as we're frustrated. Sometimes you're confused about what things are going on. But when we all have conversations, we all work through all of our stuff that we get to work through together. I just want to tell you I commend you and I appreciate you because you know how hard it's got to be because you raise yours. And we get everybody's kid all together in a room. So if you take what you're frustrated with, making the bed, taking out the trash, mowing the grass, coming home at a decent hour, we're trying to get them to learn plays, get along with each other, play nice, and to sustain a level of play that rivals other teams in not only our conference, in the county and in the state. This year was really big for everybody. Our JV team only lost one game. There's a ton of potential there. Coach Rutherford, to my right here, done an outstanding job. Team went 7-1. Let's give a round of applause for our JV football team. You know, when you have a team that goes 7-1 and you got a team that goes 9-2, the future is bright, and we're really excited. A lot of the dudes that were up here getting awards tonight, they're not leaving. We've got a bunch of freshmen, sophomore, and juniors that were recognized. We've got a bunch of different players being named to different award categories as we move into next season, already on these preseason lists. We expect to continue to dominate, not only in this county, but in this conference. The trophies over there, we're going to, at some point, run out of pendulums. I also want to take a shout out to thank all of our Booster Club. If you're a Booster Club member or a support role, if you'll just raise your hand. Everybody in here made this happen. They decorate, they plan, they call me in, give me my time frame of how much I can talk, and you know, you can see it goes long because I just love my crew. This is my tribe. I'm thankful to lead you guys. I'm thankful to be a part of this. None of this happens without you all. So from my family to yours, thank you for the opportunity to be able to do another wonderful season.
If I told him how much time he could have, he would not listen. So the boosters get the honor and privilege to give coaches awards and to give senior awards. So that's what we're going to go into now. Guys, if you are giving a coaches award, if you would come on and line up here. JJ, if you'll come first. Just make us a line. Kind of down the steps, sort of, so your coach can come up over here. And JJ, you can come on up and do yours. And even if your coach is not here, I'd like you to, say a few words.
I don't know what to say. I ain't much of a talker either, like Holman, but there's a lot you can say about this guy. Coach Russ pushes every day, argued, fought like my dad, but like a dad. Does everything for us. His family's there, always there for me. Always checked on us. I wrote a lot, but I ain't gonna say a lot. But there is a lot you can say about him. I got Philip Russ. And Carolina is winning right now.
While Coach Russ is up here, I just talked to my oldest kid this week about controlling your emotions, and sometimes that's really hard. If you know me, you know that for my kid, I always pray for the people that God puts in his life. And I know that there are going to be people that come in his life that don't meet what I want them to be. But this guy, he did. I'm very thankful for Coach Russ and for how he has led this team, because he is a man of faith. He is a man that honors God and follows the Lord. And he has lived that out in front of my kid, and I am forever thankful. So we have this little plaque for him, and it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance." James 1, 2, and 3. And that's one of his life verses. I've heard him quote that many times, and I think it was sort of one of the verses that he held on to this year. So, Coach.
I wasn't planning on talking tonight because the guys that I have is sick. But have Coach T.J. Watkins. It's his first year, and getting to know him, he's just cool as heck. And he wasn't going to yell at you, but he wanted you to get the work in, and you just kind of had to respect him, respect his time, and he made sure we got stuff done, made us quicker. And made us better football players. Coach T.J. Watkins.
So this coach is very hard on us. He'll push us to our limit, but he always wanted the best for us, and he might see potential in us that we might not see. And one thing I say about this coach is he loves to argue. He would argue with you till you just, I don't know, he loves to argue. But you just got to be able to take tough coaching, because at the end of the day, he just wants you to be the best player that you can be. And I respect him for that, because bear with me, because I don't like reading. And but we're gonna lock in. He challenged me. He helps me improve. He holds me to a high standard. He challenged me mentally and physically every day, which helped me grow as a player and a person. Looking back on it, even though we had many disagreements, I can say that he has helped me with a lot, and he is a big part of the player I am today. Here is Coach Q.
This coach, ever since coming into this program as the summer going into 8th grade, playing multiple sports, him coaching, helping out, me being good friends with his son in 8th grade, there's been many, many times that I've looked at him as a father figure, as a figure in multiple ways, as a mentor to me. We've had our heads butted, and not only football but basketball, but we've grown a great leadership, from beginning of when I first started playing football and basketball on top of to now, skipping a year, talking to him about whether I should do this, that, and the other, whether it's button heads in the summer, this, that, and the other. So our relationship, he's held me to a high standard, and I really respect him for what he's done to me, whether it's, us going over to his house, inviting us over as seniors, to talk about football, whether it's basketball, as a brother almost to me, or to coaching and us butting heads on the sidelines during football games. This coach has really meant a lot to me from the past 4 years, and I really appreciate everything he's done for us. This is my defensive coordinator and head basketball coach, Turner Kincaid.
I started playing football my sophomore year, and this was the first time I met this man. He's not a man of many words. I don't think he likes us half the time, but I know he loves us. At most he'll say is if we are slacking off, he's going to make us do it over again. He grows us mentally and physically. He helps us reach our potential, and he's a great strength coach. I got Coach Hallman.
So this coach originally came in my freshman year, and he came in as the receivers coach. And my freshman year, he didn't have much influence in the offense. I don't know what offense we ran, coach, but my sophomore year, you can see he kind of came around, and he was getting funnier, and he was getting smarter. He brought the Wake Forest mindset to coaching, and he's probably other than Coach Allman, he's probably said the most out-of-pocket things I've ever heard. So I'm going to give this award to Coach Stamey.
This coach ain't here, but it's Coach Cooper. Some things I'd like to say about him is first day he was here, the first day he was at practice or whatever, he was setting up some drills and stuff, and I was like, what's this guy setting up? Like, it's nothing I've never done before. But he pushed us to be the best that we could be, and we never really had like a running back coach my whole year until this year. But and two, the first day we were at practice, there was there was like 4 or 5 running backs. Then like the next 2 or 3 weeks, there was like 10 of us over there. So, but yeah, I'd like to give a shout out to Coach Cooper, and yeah.
This coach right here, he means a lot to me because ever since I came into high school, I've had him since day one. He was my social studies teacher my freshman year, and he was my JV coach for 2 years. And he got on me a lot. He loved me to death, though. He always told me that. And to this day, I'll still never understand why he calls me Smooch. But he's a great person, great coach. He pushed me to be the leader who I am today. Without Leo, I wouldn't be the leader who I am. So this award goes to Coach Leo. Andy holds the world record for throwing his hat in the air.
I really didn't have nothing much planned for this, but this coach really means a lot to me. He's a great guy, a great person, and he's a coach you can laugh and joke with, but when it's time to be serious, it's serious. He's about giving out up downs like it's nothing. He'd have you doing 20 at least. But yeah, he's a real fun coach. He's the O-line coach, and he pushed all of us O-line to be better guys, better football players, better blockers. But yeah, I'd like to give this award to Coach Rutherford.
Coach Q, you and CJ, y'all come get your picture. Okay, so last year, we started 2 new awards, and these are awards that started with seniors, and they chose 2 rising seniors to fill these roles. And we got a couple of, they might be cheesy things, but things to just kind of have at the field house for you to remember this is something, this is a thing. First is the Hardest Hitter Award. Last year, Brennan Pinkerton was chosen as the hardest hitter. Brennan, you come on up. So Brandon signed our baseball bat. Can we show that? You know, hold that. And this year, Brandon gets his certificate for being the hardest hitter. But not only that, he is chosen a rising senior to be the hardest hitter for next year. So I'm going to give this to Brandon. And then Brandon, if you want to call your person.
The hardest hitter I want to choose is Mr. Colby Pack.
Let Colby sign it over there. Well, y'all get a picture first. Yeah, should have been later. Okay, guys, step to the side with the bat in that, and they're gonna get you a marker to sign. All right, so the next one is the Leadership Award. And last year, Landon Flynn was chosen as the rising senior for the Leadership Award. So he signed the Cavalier cape. And that is just the visual to keep in your locker room to remember, hey, this is a thing. So this year, he gets his certificate, and he has chosen a rising senior for the Leadership Award. So.
Before I say this kid's name, I just want to say that this kid has fought through a lot of adversity, through injuries. He started corner our freshman year, and I could just see him growing through the offseason. Every time I'm working out, he's always there with me. So I'm going to give this leadership award to Adam Garcia.
It matches your mascot. It matches your mascot. Congratulations. Afterwards, you'll sign that. You want this? So now we will present, are you coming on up to do that? Okay. Preacher Joe has a couple things he wants to do and recognize.
One thing that that I aspire to do as a football pastor, team preacher, whatever you want to call that role, I seek to aspire and to inspire and to incite a spiritual heartbeat amongst our athletes, amongst our team. And this year's team absolutely had some young men that were very, very worthy of being recognized as spiritual leaders. But as a pastor, as so often that we do, we pray over things and we ponder over things. And the more I thought about the spiritual heartbeat of East Rutherford football, the more my heart and the more my mind began to turn to some special ladies who have prayed for your sons, who have been there for my family, who have not only provided safe and healthy and happy homes for their own sons, but have been a haven for so many other young athletes on our football team as well. I would love to recognize some of the football players tonight, because we were not at a loss for young men who had a spiritual heartbeat. Landon Flynn came to me asking if he could pray for his team. Ian, over the summer, surrendered his heart and his life to full-time ministry. And these young men lifted up. It was Zamir who came to me almost on a weekly basis and asked me, said, "Preacher, give me a word, give me a verse." And you know, those were rich, wonderful times with those student athletes. But these ladies that I want to recognize this evening have made tremendous impact on our football program, and it's primarily, I believe, rooted in their faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. They love you, and they love your football players because they love Christ first. And they've given several years and a lot of heart and a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of effort, and me saying these words will never add up to enough to thank them for all that they've done. But this evening, your football chaplain would like to recognize three very, very special ladies who have made East Rutherford football special over these last several years. I'd like to recognize Michelle Flynn, Debbie Thomas, and Lindsay Melton. You guys give them a round of applause tonight.
All right, we're getting there, guys. Okay, so at this time, we're going to present our senior awards. The first award is number 1, Matthew Pinkerton. The next one is C.J. Jackson. Next, Eli Ruth. Next, Jalen Hinton. Next, Landon Flynn. Next, Brandon Pinkerton. Next, JJ Airwood. Now get in the middle. You got it? Next, Ian Queen. Next is Sebastian Mendoza. And next is Jack Adkins. Next is Cole Grayson. Alton Freeman. And James Cope. Hubbard. Okay, so this is a special award for somebody who is probably the biggest Cavalier fan in the room. This person has rooted for the Cavs for probably as long as he can remember. This person promotes our team, our school, and all our school teams. We are so thankful for him. And we're excited to see what his future is going to be. This award goes to J.J. Irvin. Get in the middle of all these mamas and get a picture. What's next?
Okay, the next two awards that we have, without this person, our players would never have made it on the field or stayed healthy enough to play and win conference championships. And we love her dearly, and we will miss her immensely. But Miss Elise Smith, our athletic trainer. And the next award we'd like to present, it's more than physical strength out on the football field. I feel like the spiritual guidance that we've had and support that our children have on the field is priceless. And we have someone that is dedicated to Cavalier football. And Pastor Joe Irvin, we couldn't do it without you. We love you. All right, the next one, we've started something where we like to recognize 2 volunteers that just, we couldn't have made it through the season without them. If you volunteered, you know that it takes an army to make everything work. And this one mom has made chili, slaw, and onions every year. And I bet you every home game she was like, oh, Lord. She didn't even ask. She just brought it. But we couldn't have done it without you, Miss Sharma Pinkerton. And the next one, I'll go ahead and have both volunteers come up. This next one, you didn't even have to ask. She was calling you and telling you, where do I need to be? What do I need to do? No, let's do this way. And then this year, she really helped us out by, she said, just give me the volunteer list names. I'll call them. I'll get them there. Miss Janie Taylor.
Just really quickly, I don't have awards to hand out, but these ladies, I need you to step up here. You 3. Football Boosters is a nonprofit, and we have a lot of rules and regulations we have to follow. And it's not the easiest job to be a football booster officer. And I call on these ladies, and I have a lot of things that I need from them, and they're busy. And I'm like, I don't care, I need it. And they step up to the plate, and they've done it. Debbie and Lindsay have been officers of the board for 3 years each. This is Liz's first year. I have been the board chair president for 3 years. Myself, Debbie, and Lindsay will be stepping down. This is our last year. So I say that to the parents because Liz is going to need you. In just a very few weeks, we will have a booster meeting, a parent meeting. That date and time will go out on the app. We'll try to get that home to your kids. But that is a time when we've got to talk about who's going to be taking our positions. Other schools in the county don't do this for your sons and daughters. I know we've had some girls on the team. They don't do this. We do this because they have worked literally since last spring. Am I right? Last spring for this fall season. And the ones that are going to play next year, they're already preparing. I think that kind of work ethic deserves a little celebration, especially when they end up with the results we see over here. 3-time county champions and a conference championship, the first one in 20 years. That's to be celebrated. But none of this, the concession stand, the shirts that you get, all the little things, your meals, these boys can eat. All of those things add up. And it takes people working together to raise the money. And I just want to tell you, I know a lot of the senior parents are really wanting, we put out that we have jerseys that we're selling. I want to tell you a story behind these jerseys real quick. They were brand new last year. Those jerseys say the jungle across the front. Well, the state passed some rule this year that you can't have your nickname, whatever. It's got to be your school name. A set of jerseys for this team is, well, it was over $5,000. We were forced to buy a whole new set of jerseys this year. Well, it's no secret. School system don't have that money. Those are the things that we are working for. So when we're begging for help, it's because our team needs stuff. So keep in mind, you're going to get information about a parent meeting coming up, and really like soul search and see if you might be willing to kind of take one of our positions, because Liz is going to need help. And we've got a few people who have already like, I'll do whatever I can. That's great. But just like this football team, you know, Brandon couldn't win all the games by yourself, could you? Took your team. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So I want to thank these ladies for their service. And I'm excited to see who and what is going to happen next year. Thank you, ladies. Coach, are you speaking before or after this? At the end? Okay, go ahead, Matt.
This is the class of 2026, our senior class. The culture shift and definition of what makes Cavalier football the best program in Rutherford County. 4 years ago, these young men stepped into a program that needed a spark, needed new life, and needed belief. And they answered that call with everything they had. They didn't just show up. They showed up with every bit of relentless work that they possibly could put together. They recharged the program. They brought it roaring back to varsity play and reminded everyone what Cavalier football could and should be. Through sweat-soaked summer mornings, grueling weight room workouts, and those long, tough practices when no one was watching, they just kept showing up. They kept pushing. But most importantly, they kept believing in something bigger than themselves. And because of their resilience, this program didn't just survive. It began to thrive again. Together, they delivered our first county championship in years, and then another, and another. 3 county championships etched in the record books for this senior class. Then they took a step higher on the rung of the ladder. They added the 8th conference championship in Cavalier history to the trophy case. And then they punched our ticket to the playoffs 3 times, putting the program back on a statewide map where it belongs, back into conversations with the Blue Bloods of North Carolina, having Cavalier football again recognized at the table, defeating an undefeated #1 seed to etch their mark into lore and history of high school football. But more than the banners, more than the trophies, and more than the wins, they built something lasting. This group laid a foundation of toughness, pride, brotherhood, and relentless work ethics, the standard that every Cavalier who comes after them will be measured by. So tonight, we celebrate you. To the class of 2026, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for your heart, and thank you for always reminding us what it truly means to be a Cavalier. You didn't just play football here for us. You became a part of Cavalier football history forever. Ever onward, ever true.
All right, real quick. Sorry, I forgot something. This is, the Grammys has like a weird scenario where they do some random thing in the middle of a slideshow. I need the whole Flynn family to come up here, please, including Landon. Everybody, come on, Papa. Everybody's got to get up here. Landon, if you'll stand right here, if I can get the whole Flynn family to stand over here to my right, please. Debbie, will you record this on the video for me? Because I know we've got some of the families in Alabama, and they need to be able to be a part of this too. All right. Hold on. So real quick, they always say, I don't know if you've ever seen that commercial, or they're like, here's this, but there's more. So this is the last award that I wanted the entire family to be up here, be a part of this. After doing some checking and some file searching, first off, we want to recognize Landon for a career passing 6,518 yards and 73 touchdowns. He has now eclipsed the mark to be East Rutherford's all-time leading passer and Rutherford County's all-time leading passer. Wow. So on behalf of East Rutherford High School, the perk of getting to be the AD, I get to present this both as the head coach and athletic director. Landon Flynn, number 12, quarterback, all-time leading passers, 6,518 yards, 73 touchdowns. East Rutherford High School career, 2022 to 2025. Freshman year, 68 completions for 166 attempts, 707 yards, 7 touchdowns. Sophomore year, 137 completions for 258 attempts, 2,052 yards, and 21 touchdowns. Junior year, 118 completions on 210 attempts, 1,966 yards and 18 touchdowns. Senior year, 111 completions on 171 attempts, 1,793 yards and 27 touchdowns. Undefeated conference championship in 25, 3-time Rutherford County champion, 3-time all-conference, 3-time all-county team captain, and 3-time offensive MVP. Come on in here. And just to let you know how big of a deal this is, the closest, after talking to the Digital Courier and all of the sports editors, the closest to Landon was like 2,900 yards total passing in a career. And I think that number 2, 3, and number 5 on the list were from East Rutherford. One was from Thomas Jefferson, I think was like number 4 maybe. So Landon has surpassed that expectation, set a record that I think will stand for a long time. Offensive linemen, receivers, running backs, tight ends, you all responsible for that as well, for catching those passes, protecting, and giving him a clean pocket. So this award goes to you and to all the linemen that have blocked for him in his career. Thank you all.
I promise I'm going to wrap it up. What I say every year is freshmen, sophomores, this is what we want you to look forward to. And these guys and the guys before them set a standard. And we believe that you can fill those shoes. And we're going to be there to watch you do that. And we're excited about that. So keep pressing on, keep pushing. Don't quit. And I'm going to read something that I typed up because I didn't want to forget. To our players, to our coaches, to our parents, to our school, thank you for the fun. This team, its coaches, parents, players, you become family. The last 4 years have been precious to us, the Flynn family, and so many others. You, being your booster president, has been the ultimate privilege. This position has been demanding at times, but it's been a privilege to serve you, to build relationships with you, and truly love you. Seniors, many of you were playing sports with Landon before middle school, and the rest of you came along as teammates then. It's been the ultimate privilege to watch you all grow, mature, and become a force on the field, to work together for something bigger than you could imagine, to see you achieve the goals that the naysayers said would never happen. You have persevered and fought hard to make every season a winning one, each season better than the last. Proud is an understatement. Young men, you'll learn soon enough that there are people in your life that make a lasting impact. Special people that become your ride or die kind of people. There's a special bond with those folks. I've witnessed this team have an unmatched brotherhood. This bond affects the memories that you all will have. These memories will be never ending. They'll always be there, and you'll always look back on these days with fondness. Finally, the last few years have been so much fun. We've loved every second of it. You all have what it takes to go very far in life. You just have to decide that when those challenges come, just like on the field, that you don't quit, you don't give up, you dig deep, and you give it all you've got. This type of work ethic brings good things and fun things. I encourage all of you, make the best out of your life, stay in touch. We'll always be family. We'll always be ultimately privileged to have you in our lives, and we'll love you with a never-ending love. Coaches, that goes for you too. My husband's favorite verse is this: greater love has no man than this, than to lay down his life for his friends. And that's John 15:13. Remember that sacrifice, what you're willing to give up, shows love. So each time somebody is sacrificed for you in your home, in your school, on the field, it's because they love you. Know that we want you all to succeed and make this world a better place. I'm done being mushy. I want to thank you all for coming. That concludes tonight. I'm sorry it went long, but I do have a little bit of instruction, and I'm begging for help, because this church has worship service in here in the morning at 10:30. So we need a little help. First of all, I want everybody to get pictures. We've got a place over here you can take pictures with your kid. We've got a place over here you can take pictures with your kid. Those are not coming down. But if you guys could help us with all this and then get your pictures, that'd be great. The other thing, Liz and Lindsay are in the back. If you want to purchase your kid's jersey, now these are varsity jerseys, correct? So if your kid played in this jersey, you can purchase that. You need to see them. The other thing, if you were part of this varsity team, you have a t-shirt in the back for conference champ and county champ. You need to see them and get your t-shirt before you leave, okay? All right? Don't bombard them all at the same time. So some of you get pictures, some of you get shirts, and the rest of you, if you'll help us clean up. Anything on your table that you ate off of, it can go in the trash. Debbie's going to be over here to the side. If you guys would help us with the flower arrangements, any decorative stuff, she'll show you where to put that. There'll be a bin for the dirty tablecloths. Once all that's done, then we can put the tables away. My dad is over here in the corner. He'll direct you on the tables. Cody Maxwell, my son-in-law, is here somewhere. He can help. Where are you, Cody? He's got his hand up back there. He can help with tables. Then we'll have to line chairs back up.